Hello everyone and welcome to the Deercast. Today we're going to be talking about brass. Now it's one of those things that, depending on if you're a reloader or not, it can look like a sort of consumable product or disposable product in terms of you fire it, either goes in the bin or it goes to the recycling, or if you're a reloader, it's the most precious thing in the world because it's your entry into the next kind of batch of ammunition and helps keep costs down. If you are a reloader, there are a huge number of choices out there in terms of what brass you buy, where you buy it from, etc. I'd always kind of erred on the side of as cheap as possible, whether that's sort of other people's hand-me-downs or if I buy some, I tended to buy sort of the cheapest stuff I could get my hands on. I used to buy quite a lot of ADI brass from Bushwear, which is about 80 pence per case. This is one of them here, empty one here. You can see it looks pretty much exactly the same as any other brass case, head stamped with ADI if that focuses. However, someone persuaded me to buy some Laur brass instead. It's quite a lot more expensive, it's £1.30 a case from Bushwear, so those prices from ADI were also from Bushwear as well. And the reason was, they said it's much more consistent, it's better quality brass, so it'll last for longer if you are reloading it, but they said you'll see better results on paper from it, which I doubted, I've got to be honest, because I thought, how much difference can two different cases make? So one of those is Laur, one of those is ADI, they look pretty much exactly the same, and for all intents and purposes, they seem pretty much exactly the same. The only thing I'll say though, is every pack of ADI brass I've ever bought from Bushwear have come, and normally the case mouths especially are quite badly kind of dented and squashed. They come in a sort of a plastic bag basically when they arrive, and I guess just in transit more of them get sort of squashed to bits and pieces, whereas Laur stuff comes in a plastic box. I think they're phasing those out and I think they're going to cardboard now, but it comes in a more rigid box. And therefore the actual cases themselves, the Laur ones, whenever I've had any, have always arrived in much better nick and have required much less prep to sort of get them to the point where I could reload them. To look at, they seem pretty much exactly the same. The Laur ones are perhaps a little bit shinier. When you come to reloading them, I did notice that seating primers on the Laur cases was much more consistent than the ADI. So using a hand priming tool with the Laur ones, every time I was putting a primer in, it felt much more consistent. Whereas with the ADI ones, sometimes you'd get a primer that felt like you needed to push it in that bit harder, and then some of them they felt a lot more loose in terms of you sort of, as you were a hand sort of crimping on the priming tool, it felt like the primer was just flying in there. What I decided to do was load up a batch of ammunition with some Laur cases and some with some ADI cases, and then shoot them on target and see if it made any difference whatsoever. I used two different batches of ammunition, so one 130 grain Fox bullets, one 150 grain Fox bullets, and I fired 3 shots through my 2 different 308 rifles, so got essentially 4 different tests going on, and what they all revealed was exactly the same results in terms of each different experiment showed the same thing, which is, and this is just one of the targets, I'm not going to bore you with all 4, but you can see those are with the ADI cases and those are with the Laur cases. And essentially what you've got is the ADI cases delivered 25mm groove, whereas the Laur ones had a 15mm groove. Now yes, I know 0 is off here, and that's part of the reason I was actually shooting one of this particular rifle at paper, and then moved them across, but both exactly the same place. And I had the same results with both rifles and with both different types of ammunition, was that the Laur grooves were just that little bit tighter. And when I ran them all over the chrono, got pretty much exactly the same thing, which was that the Laur velocities were much more consistent than the ADI velocities. So it was quite interesting. I didn't think there was going to be any difference between one batch of brass to another, but it does go to show that actually in this case, you get what you pay for. So hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. Please remember to comment, like and subscribe. If you've got any experiences with different batches, brands, etc. of brass, pop a comment in the below. Really interested to know what you think, and we'll hopefully catch you on the next one.